The Southern Arizona Transportation Museum is located on 414 North Toole Avenue in Tucson, Arizona, and is open 11 to 3 on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays, and Fridays and Saturdays 10 to 4. And also, admission to the museum is free. Also, the Southern Pacific Depot was built in 1907 and it was used for passenger service for the Southern Pacific Railroad many years ago and would also have passengers arrive on a train from somewhere coming into Tucson or board a train from Tucson going somewhere. And also, the museum is housed in the former Records Vault building, and also there can be railroad related exhibits and as well. And also, the records building was built in the 3 stages: 1907, 1910, 1922. The latest stage completing the building as we see it today. A management committee was formed in 2001 to complete the task of establishing the museum. The museum is now a division of Old Pueblo Trolley Incorporated, which was founded in 1983 by 2003, as well as completing a formal study. The museum was awarded a variety of grants and private donations that funded the museum exhibits. In 1998, the city of Tucson purchased the former Southern Pacific Depot on Toole Avenue downtown. Then in 2004, the depot was renovated by the city of Tucson, and restoration of the main depot building and the 3 adjacent buildings to their 1941 architectural style was completed in 2004. Also, the depot is served by Amtrak and stops here every day, and the train routes that it is the Sunset Limited and the Texas Eagle. And also, the depot lobby is currently used as a waiting room for passengers using Amtrak trains, and the rest of the depot are leased to various businesses as well. Southern Pacific 1673 was built by the Schenectady Locomotive Works in Schenectady, New York in 1900 and is the 5683rd steam locomotive built by that factory and is a 260 Mogul type steam locomotive and is an M4B type class steam locomotive. Southern Pacific 1673 was used on the Southern Pacific Railroad many years ago, hauling freight trains on several short line routes in southern Arizona. By the early 1950s, Southern Pacific 1673 had been used to do switching work, and its original Vanderbilt tender had been replaced with a smaller square box tender. Southern Pacific 1673 also had a brief role in the 1954 film Oklahoma, and it was fitted with a diamond smokestack and other turn-of-the-century equipment and colors. Then by 1955 was seeing little use and mainly sitting in serviceable storage. That year, it featured in a publicity photo shoot in Shaharita, Arizona. It also featured that year Southern Pacific's 75th anniversary celebration in Tucson, Arizona, hauling an excursion train from the Southern Pacific Depot to the Pacific Fruit Express yard. Then later on, Southern Pacific 1673 was retired and then in 1955 was donated to the city of Tucson, Arizona, and being displayed in front of the Pioneers Historical Society, which It was then later the Arizona Historical Society, and in 1962 the locomotive had been moved to a display location at Himmel Park in Tucson due to construction at the Arizona Historical Society to expand the size of its buildings, which it left no room for the locomotive. Southern Pacific 1673 sat for many years there at the park, and it was exposed to the elements, gradually deteriorating and suffering periodic vandalism and theft of equipment, including its builder's plates and gauges. Then, by the early 1990s, the locomotive was in bad shape and facing disposal, but a group of volunteers, the 1673 Task Force, was formed to preserve the engine, even though many local residents thought the engine would be scrapped, but it never did. It was also taken apart, sandblasted, cosmetically restored, and reassembled. Then in late 2000, Southern Pacific 1673 was moved out of the park to the Southern Pacific Depot in downtown Tucson, and over the next 2 years a shelter and fence were erected around it. In 2005 it opened to public display following completion of restoration, and is proudly seen here on display of part of the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum in Tucson, Arizona, where it can be seen today as well. Also, Southern Pacific 1673 is one of either 9 surviving Southern Pacific 260s left in the world today, and 8 survive on land today, and 1673 can be found here at the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum here in Tucson, Arizona, where it can be seen today, and you can even visit the locomotive's cabin, sit where the engineer and fireman used to sit, and even ring the locomotive's bell. This is a diesel cab control you see right here. It is here displayed at the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum. And you can even sit in this chair I'm sitting in as well. See how these controls work. This is the throttle, reverser, trim brake, locomotive brake. It's the independent. Here's the bell, and you'll see there's one. Okay, so we're walking around in the museum building. Here's an HL model. That's the exact Amtrak's, the exact depot we're near, and that's the steam engine that's here as well. These are some daylight locomotives. That's the 4449, 4406, Southern Pacific freight train. And now here's cool stuff you could see right here. And up there, that's a track where you can see a train go on. And also here's some pictures. Here's a train crews hat, conductor, brakeman, trainman for Amtrak. And a lantern looking like a lamp, a Union Pacific diesel. Here, a lot of pictures. Here's some railroad tools right here as well. And here's also a model of a train used in the Old West. And also here's some pictures, and right here's a telegraph key as well. And also here's a mannequin. It looks like a CB&Q conductor. Here's when the steam engine was being moved to here. Excuse me. And also here's some plates used in the dining car. And hard hats. So much stuff in here. And that's a model of the big boy, number 4002. That looks like a CB&Q Northern and a Virginian truckee locomotive, Genoa as well. And look at all this cool stuff. That's a Baldwin number plate that you see on the smoke box door as well. Okay, so this is a crossing signal here displayed in the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum. It's just right beside the depot. No, I mean next to the museum building on my left. And also, since you're on display, you can activate these lights. So here. That's how it's done. Okay, you can see right here there's a bell that's used as a crossing light. This is a bell donated by my family. 2 switch stands. Donated by the WC light down. There's another